Hello, hello, y'all. I'm BearHeart and Bill Wieners, and we have here Kurstin and RiKitty, who has
Hello.
not changed her name on her.
What are you talking about? It is changed.
Oh, there it is.
Oh
What
my
is
gosh, so I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm wearing a hoodie and it makes me look so pissed.
Apparently, on one of our very first podcasts, I referred to them as my henchmen, and so Kurstin has taken this to her name.
I'm already running out of ideas. I think we've got one on deck.
I've told you like the ultimate idea.
I know.
I swear.
Jingleheimer Smith.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the next one we have on deck. And I feel like that one's like when I have absolutely nothing left in the reserves, and I think that time is going to be probably Wednesday. I need more ideas.
All right. Well, we'll put our brain cells together. So today there's a couple of things that we want to talk about. I want to talk about the Oscars because I'm really excited about the Oscars. And I a few years ago, I would have never thought that I would be excited about the Oscars ever again. And this year I'm actually excited about the Oscars. So I grew up in a film family, and we always, because my dad worked in the film industry, and we always sat around and watched the Oscars together. And as the kids grew up and, went our separate ways, we would often get together and watch the Oscars together. Or, even in years past, we would be texting each other or tweeting each other while watching the Oscars. And that all fell away over the last few years because the Oscars have become less and less relevant, even within the film industry, mostly because they were so completely out of step with modern filmmaking. And the membership had become so old and stale and white that they were ignoring, vast swaths of incredibly creative work. And so it just became less and less relevant. And then a few years ago, the Academy went on a spree of inviting new members into their voting membership, to the point where there's now something like 5 times as many members as there were before. And the vast majority of them have been members for just a few years. And they're young, they're diverse, and they're voting for films and performances and artists who would never have been considered before. And so, I don't know if this makes the Oscars relevant again. That's another subject. But this is one of the first Oscars that I can remember in a very, very long time when all of the awards went to who I thought they should go to, which makes it correct in my view. So most notably, one of the most creative and unusual and weird films that I've seen in decades won Best Picture, Everything Everywhere and All at Once. And Michelle Yeoh, who is, in my view, one of the greatest actresses of her generation, of my generation. I mean, she's almost as old as me, won Best Actress. And I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, Ke Huy Quan, who played Short Round as a child actor in the original Indiana Jones, and won Best Actor for playing the husband of Michelle Yeoh, and an incredible, fabulous performance in an incredible, fabulous film. And just all the way down the line, at least for the top awards, they were all the awards that I thought should have won. The possible exception of Brendan Fraser, who, I just didn't like that film. And I walked out of that film thinking, I'm not sure why they made this film, but that's just me. I had expected Austin Butler to win for Elvis, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But still,
love that movie.
yeah.
And
But
big Austin Butler fan.
Brendan Fraser, deserves the award and put in a fabulous performance. And he deserves an award just for his whole personal comeback from the edge of oblivion, which I can totally relate to. So also the incredible musical number from RRR, and Natu, which in my view, it's not just, so I mean, a lot of Americans don't understand Indian film, and of course, most of the Indian films I've seen were Bollywood films, and this is not actually Bollywood. They call it Tollywood because it's from a different region of India. But in any event, I think the aesthetics of Indian film are lost on a lot of Americans. But that dance sequence in front of the palace was just not just a spectacular dance sequence and not just a spectacular song, which actually won Best Song. I don't think I can remember the last time a song that wasn't in English won Best Song at the Oscars. But the incredible amount of work. I mean, as somebody who understands a little bit about filmmaking, the incredible amount of work that went into choreographing, shooting, filming, and editing that sequence is just mind-boggling. Besides the fact it was just so energetic and so, I mean, I don't know how you can sit down while watching that. It's just really amazing. Also a great film, and to show how much work is left to do with the Academy, a film that was at or near the top of many people's top 10 lists of the year, didn't even get nominated for Best Picture or not even for Best International Feature. Probably because the Academy members are all American and couldn't understand it. I don't know. But it's an incredible piece of filmmaking, and it deserved a lot more recognition than it got. But I was really excited to see Natu, and they performed it, and so that was really wonderful. The thing about Everything Everywhere All at Once, have you guys both seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And what did you think?
I thought it was a fabulous movie. The mother-daughter relationship made me cry. I definitely cried watching that movie. Yeah. It was just overall really fabulous, great writing, great portrayals of, it's seemingly real people. Like, these characters felt real to me, even though it was the most nonsensical possible environment for these characters. It was still, I don't know, it hit hard for me. I liked it a lot. And
that's a real feat, to take such a crazy story and to, that jumps around in time and in space and in universes, reality. and to still have the characters be completely relatable to the extent that they draw an emotional response like that. I mean, you follow her on this journey as she goes through all of these different universes. And the relationship with the daughter, which was really the heart of the film. Mm-hmm. And it comes across so well. What
was your favorite universe, and why was it hot dog hands? Am I right?
The hot dog hands was completely unexpected, even though I had seen promos that showed the hot dog hands.
Yep. Did you see that those actual, like, the hot dog hand prosthetic gloves that they wore for the movie went on auction? Do you know about the auction that they did for the props? They did an auction for props and costumes from the movie, and most of the profits went to charity, I believe. But it just wrapped like last week, and those hot dog hands went for like several $1,000s.
I believe it. Yeah.
And the fanny pack was the most expensive, I think, from the auction. Was can you pronounce his name again? Kwan's. It was Kwan's fanny pack.
Kiwan Kwan.
Yes.
Kihoy
His Spanish
Kwan.
back sold for a lot.
Yeah, I apologize for messing up that name. It's a Vietnamese name, and he's a brilliant actor, and apparently just a great guy, from everything that I can see and hear. And Kurstin, what did you think?
So it's
How did it play in Texas?
it's less about what I thought about it and more about I have been getting really good at not necessarily predicting what's going to happen in a movie. And maybe that's on filmmaking, like stop making movies so predictable. And I tend to get irritated when I can't figure out like the flow of a movie. So I went to sit down and watch this movie and I was like, that's it. How am I supposed to guess this stuff?
Oh, I'm going to suggest you watch it again, but
I will. I mean, it won an Oscar, so like now I have to,
it won all the Oscars. It
won all of the Oscars.
It might as well have. It won 7 Oscars out of 11 nominations, and it is now officially the most awarded film in history. If you count all the awards from all the different, award things that it received, no film in history has ever won that many awards, which, to me is just absolutely remarkable. And it's a testament to what I would call weird art, which, in my view, art should be weird.
I agree. I mean, you've seen what I turned your office into.
Yes.
I am a connoisseur of very strange art.
Rose noticed it this morning.
She did. What did she say?
Oh, she was overcome with joy. She thought it was fabulous.
Wonderful. I am glad that it tickled her.
She loved it.
That's good. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah. So to me, the thing about first of all, it's really rare for a genre movie. That's what they call them in Hollywood, genre movies. A movie that is either sci-fi or horror or some genre movie. It's like they don't want to say weird, and so they say genre. And because I guess
people use weird as like with a negative connotation. There's nothing wrong with being a little funky.
I mean, even the word itself breaks all spelling rules. When you think about I before E except after C, and it's actually spelled EI. So I mean, you start there and you get an idea of why weird has such a bad
rap. It doesn't sound like neighbor or way.
Exactly. And but more than that, I mean, more than the fact that a genre movie actually won Best Picture and a bunch of other awards, and that it was, I mean, to me, you think of a movie like Crazy Rich Asians, which I guess you can technically call it an Asian film. It's about an Asian family. It's about Asian stuff. It's all in English, and it's all, very by the book American filmmaking. Or you take a film like The Farewell. Did you see The Farewell? I bet Ricky did. You've not seen The Farewell. The Farewell is Awkwafina, and it's her character goes back to China because her grandmother is dying.
Oh gosh, no, I have not.
And it is an incredibly beautiful film. And a great deal of it is in Chinese. The grandmother doesn't speak in English, and Awkwafina is like this raised in New York. I mean, she's playing herself effectively, and I love her. I don't knock her for that, because who she is weird art. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of her music videos.
Yes.
I don't know of any other Asian trumpet playing rappers.
Yep.
Or no, there's a trombone. I forget. She plays a brass instrument and she raps, and she's nuts. And I love her. But for a film to be, that that Asian, that foreign for an American audience. And obviously, Everything Everywhere and All at Once is in English, and yet it's about at its heart, it's about a Chinese immigrant family. And so there's that side of it, that it's rare to see something like that get acknowledgement from the Academy of Motion Pictures. But you to also have it be such an unusual film, a weird art, in my terminology, a weird art film. It's really, really refreshing to me to see something like that, win awards in the Academy. And yeah. Anyway, I think that's about all I have to say on the subject. Asian culture is kind of up front for me in my mind, because I'm married to an Asian woman with kids, and there's and I see what they go through, and I see what their life is like living in a foreign place. I mean, Rose wasn't born here; she came here as a teenager, and so I kind of see the world through her eyes a little bit, and it kind of makes me very, very acutely aware of what I would call advancement and acceptance of Asian culture in the U.S. And from my view, I've traveled a lot, and I've been to a lot of different places, and I've seen a lot of different cultures, and I've met a lot of different people from these cultures. And in my view, that expands our joy of life, to be able to experience different cultures and learn from them. I mean, it shines a light on our own preconceptions about what the world is and what the world's supposed to look like, when we can see, well-functioning world from a completely different perspective, right? And I think everybody should experience that. And since everybody can't really necessarily afford to travel around the world, a great way to do that is through film. So I think everybody should expose themselves to a lot of foreign film, and film in languages that you don't understand. I mean, turn on the subtitles or watch the dubbed version if you have to. I mean, for my part, I watched the dubbed version of RRR because, while I don't know, the subtitles usually aren't that distracting for me, but for some reason they were with that one. In any event, this is a great way. Yes, I see it. This to me is a great way to expose ourselves to other cultures if we can't travel. And I recommend that everybody does that. We have a comment, RiKitty?
Yes, we sure do. Okay, hang on one second. I'm sending back another one there. Okay. We're sending each other Japanese emoticons on Twitch. But it started. This is just wonderful.
Does this person know that the person behind the kitty avatar is actually part Japanese? You
yeah, I didn't.
Right? Don't you?
Squish. Just a little bit, just enough to order food and understand maybe like a quarter of what's going on. What's funny is
like my amount of Spanish.
Yeah, my parents tried to sign me up for Japanese school when I was younger, and I wasn't Japanese enough to be accepted to a lot of them, so they ended up not sending me to Japanese school, because you have to be at least either like 75% or up. You have to be pretty much fully Japanese to get accepted, because there were huge wait lists for these places. That's
interesting. We had the same experience with our son, who's now D. In the Jewish world, if your mother isn't Jewish, then you're not considered Jewish enough. And his mother is Guatemalan and Catholic. I mean, he was raised Catholic anyway. And we tried to send him to a Hebrew school, and they wouldn't take him.
Wow. Yep, that sounds familiar. But yeah, he started it with the wave emoticon that we mentioned a couple episodes back. Yep, that's the one. The O and the /. This.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, we went back and forth, and now, yes, hi, that's the one. He sent it again right now. Hello, Porcupine Butler on Twitch.
That's my boy.
That's your boy. I know.
Yes.
Yep.
He was there like for the entire probably last 30 to 45 minutes of y'all's poker game.
Yep, I remember.
And he was the one that was like going on. Oh my gosh, he was cracking me up the whole time.
He sent you a purple heart.
Oh, that's why y'all were like, come sit down. I was like,
oh, here, it's a regular heart.
I was like,
I'm
I'm
sending
vibing.
hearts from you. Those hearts are from Kurstin and me.
Oh, there you
And
go.
Bear.
And Bear, yes.
And me.
Of course, and Bear. That goes without saying.
Little Bear Spartacus over there.
Yep. Well, there we go. Those are our Twitch comments.
Well, brilliant. You know, one of these days I'm going to have to figure out the Twitch.
Figure out the Twitch.
A Twitch.
I've never been on the Twitch.
I know how to do a Twitch.
I'm sure.
Sometimes if I don't get enough sleep, my eye does the Twitch.
So, cool. So I love how our comments are not often about the subject we're talking about. They're just like, you guys are fun.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is the bank failures. We've had a couple of interesting bank failures recently, and bank failures are really, really rare. And both of these banks were well capitalized and had not necessarily really done anything untoward. They hadn't done anything wrong. They hadn't broken any rules. They hadn't taken unnecessary risks. You know, it took me all weekend to figure out what was going on. And I think I figured it out. The thing that both of these banks had in common that was unusual is they had low granularity of accounts. What they call low granularity in the banking world is that they had, if you consider like a big bank like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, one of those banks, Chase, and if you look at the distribution of their deposit accounts, the deposit accounts are, you know, people's funds that are deposited in the bank, and this is different than the accounts that they may have, you know, their investment accounts and things like this. But their deposit accounts have a certain mix of large amounts of money and small amounts of money. But the vast majority of them are going to be from regular consumers who, you know, might have a few $1,000s in the bank, might have a few $100s in the bank. But both of these banks had fewer accounts, deposit accounts, fewer accounts with larger amounts of money. And what appears to have happened, okay, we'll talk first about Silicon Valley Bank, which was the first one to go. What appears to have happened is that some of those accounts got closed and withdrawn, and then other depositors heard about it and thought, uh-oh, that seems like a lot of money going out of this bank. I'm going to pull my money out too, just to be sure I'm safe. And this snowballed. In 24 hours, they went from being just fine to being, oh shit. And because this is what they call a run, a bank run, all the depositors just all of a sudden went, I got to get my money out. And everybody withdrew their money all at once. And no bank is 100% liquid. They couldn't survive if they were 100% liquid. A bank has to take a certain amount of deposits, and there are, I'm sure in the banking world, you can find, you know, what are the acceptable percentages. They have to take a certain amount of it and invest it and make money on the investments in order to survive.
Well, and isn't there like policies usually set up where you can't just pull everything out all at once?
If the bank were to not allow you to pull out all of your money.
I'm just saying, like, it's not like a click, like it's a whole process you have to go through for them to make sure that you don't. Oh, okay.
No, you can go down to the bank any time of the day or night. Depending on how much it is, you might have to take a
Kurstin.
cashier's check. You might have to take,
You're right. My mom doesn't, she's not
Shows how much you know,
she's not the
Kurstin.
vice president of Wells Fargo. And I don't know any of this.
You know nothing as woman. You woman know nothing.
No, most people don't even think about this stuff. I did most of my consulting in the 80s was for banks, so I understand a little bit about how the business works. So that was Silicon Valley Bank, and then the FDIC swooped in on Thursday, I think it was, and took over the bank, fired all of the board, and basically seized the bank, because they're the insurance company that insures all the accounts, and the bank had run out of money to pay the depositors, and so the FDIC is now responsible, and so that gives them the authority to go in and take over the bank. So Silicon Valley Bank, one of the biggest banks in Silicon Valley. I mean, not big as in terms of Bank of America big, but big in terms of a regional bank, and significant in that a huge amount of Silicon Valley companies, the major tech companies, had large deposits there. Now, you get a big company like Facebook or Google or Apple, one of those, they spread their deposits around a bunch of banks, and each of them had significant deposits in Silicon Valley Bank. Some of the smaller mom and pop tech companies with maybe a few hundred employees literally had to figure out how to make their payroll. And a number of them were dependent upon the FDIC to step in and give them their money so that they could make their payroll. And so this was affecting everybody, not just the big wealthy, tech bosses, but this was affecting the people who work there, the people who go in and punch a clock and get a paycheck. So this was big news, obviously. And then over the weekend, well, before we get to over the weekend, Signature Bank in New York is the other one. And they were popular with the crypto crowd. And so they were crypto friendly. And I'm not sure exactly what they mean, but I understand that they accepted deposits in crypto, in Bitcoin, and perhaps a few other cryptocurrencies. I don't know the details.
Is there a difference between cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, or is it all kind of like under
Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It's like the OG cryptocurrency. Okay. And then there's other ones like Ethereum and
Bitcoin is all I know.
Right. But they all work on the same technology, which is called blockchain.
Okay.
And most banks want nothing to do with crypto for reasons that to me seem obvious, but if I start explaining them, we're going to get a ton of hate mail from all the crypto bros. So I'm not going to get into that. We can get into that another time, because I'm okay with
not the crypto bros.
I'm okay with them being pissed at me, but it's like a whole other thing, and I need to be well prepared before I jump in that pool. But so this New York bank, Signature Bank, they actually had branches around the country. They even had some branches in California. And again, their granularity was not great. They had a few very large accounts as opposed to a lot of very small accounts. And so when a few of those large accounts started saying, oh no, banks are bad because the Silicon Valley Bank got seized, and oh no, this could happen to my bank, so I'm taking all my money out and I'm going to cause it to happen, because for crying out loud. And so there was a run on Signature Bank, which was kind of precipitated by the failure of Silicon Valley Bank. And the FDIC stepped in on Friday and seized Signature Bank because they didn't have enough cash to, enough liquidity to pay off all the accounts. And so the writing was on the wall, and this all happened so quickly. And a lot of people around the country were starting to lose confidence in the banking system. And this necessitated immediate preventative action from the feds. And so originally, I think it was the chairman of the FDIC came out and said, okay, we're going to pay all the deposits, not just the insured deposits, because deposits are only insured up to $250,000. If you have more than $250,000 in any one bank, those deposits above that threshold are not insured and can be lost if the bank fails. The problem is, if that starts happening a lot, then all the big accounts are gonna get run. People are gonna withdraw all those big accounts and, I don't know, buy gold and stash it under the bed or something. So
Leprechaun.
yeah. So the Fed had to step in and say, don't do that. There's no good reason. The banking system is fine. Do not go running on all the banks, because that would be disastrous. So they stepped in and they said, okay, we're going to pay all of the accounts in full, above the limit, in full. Everybody gets their money. Nothing to worry about here. And they're paying it. They say their terminology was cagey. They said it wasn't going to be taxpayer money. So what it sounds like they're doing, and I haven't confirmed this, but it sounds to me like what they're doing is they're taking depositor money, the insurance money that their reserves, which is paid for by the banks in insurance fees, and paying out of that, which is not an unlimited resource. It is not a resource that could cover all the deposits in all the country, obviously. But there's still, as of right now, there's no reason for everybody to go down to the bank and take out all of your cash. And I am not running down to my bank and taking out all of my cash. Besides, I need it there so that all of my automatic bill payments get paid, right? And we got payroll coming up, I think, tomorrow, right? I got to pay that. So anyway, we have a comment.
We have another Twitch comment from @SkylordSprinkles, who says,
say that again slower.
okay, we have another Twitch comment.
Not that part, the name.
@SkylordSprinkles.
Skylord Sprinkles?
Yes, I worship him because he is the Sky Lord.
Well, you got to hedge your bets on that one, right?
I guess so. But there's also sprinkles there, so that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, a sprinkly Skylord is
A good Skylord to have.
Better than a spiky Skylord.
Yeah. He says, or they say, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't want to misgender you, Skylord Sprinkles. They say, hi, saw y'all's in the podcast tag and decided to check in. And you're gonna love this, a cat with a sunglasses emoticon. And you gotta tell me how you did that, because that's wonderful. The cat, oh, it's okay, he's he, they. Or they're he, they.
He's they are they.
No. Skylord Sprinkles pronouns are he/they. And apparently that is a universal Twitch emote. Ooh, glitch cat. That's what it's called. Okay, how can I send it? Oh my God. Oh my Skylord. It was wonderful. It's I just figured out how to do it, and that was the very exciting part of it.
So I don't know if I were addressing Skylord Sprinkles, instead of using a traditional male, female, they pronoun, I would just say the Lord says.
Oh, like a third person.
The Lord says, you know, the royal third, use the royal third person. That's what I would do.
There you go.
Ricky,
So-
can you put sunglasses on your
Oh,
avatar?
So they were
I-
just admiring your avatar.
I hope that's what it is. Oh, my computer glitched. I couldn't unmute. Okay, and they also said a lot of their friends on Twitch make that joke too. It's a great username. I would have taken it if it wasn't already
There you
taken.
go. There you
If it
go.
wasn't already in use, I would make myself at Skylord Sprinkles and then
The-
worship myself. But I guess for now I'll have to worship you.
The Lord hath spoken.
The Skylord hath spoken, hath sprinkled his advice on us.
There you go. So yeah, anyway, that's the story of the banking thing. And you know, I found it fascinating when I saw the news like middle of last week that this bank was failing, and everybody seemed to be panicky about it. And I couldn't figure out why. I would read the stories and they weren't really telling me why I should be panicky about it. But you know, now it kind of all makes sense. And I got an email. One of the banks that I use is a small regional bank here. And they sent me an email saying, please don't worry, we're cool.
Please don't take. And that's so suspicious too. Like, nothing to worry about here. And you're like, well, I wasn't worried until you just sent me that email. Like,
Exactly.
that's so
Anyway.
funny.
Email anxiety.
So that's what I got today. What am I missing? Anything else going on in the world? Well, I think there were some things that I saw.
Not some things.
Yeah.
You lost me at some things. Oh my gosh, do you hear that? Listen carefully. It's the sound of my cat being a little hoe bag and trying to claw up my, stop it, my bed frame. No.
Ah,
Clawing it up. Meow. Porcupine Butler says meow. Kurstin, that's your guy right there.
there you go.
So
There you-
Twitch is happening. I guess Monday nights is where it's at.
I
I gue-
guess so. Us and our 3 viewers. Look at us go.
The thing about there's this other news thing going around that I haven't really looked into too much. Elon Musk is building a town in Texas for his workers
Yeehaw.
because he wants his workers to be close by and to have affordable housing, blah, blah, blah. It sounds very much to me like the company town from the old mining town days. And it reminds me very much of that song called 16 Tons. 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day,
Tomato, tomato, tomato.
day older and deeper in debt. And you know, it makes me wonder, well, Elon Musk probably doesn't know a lot of history. And so this may sound like a good idea to him. And I'll be keeping an eye on that because that seems like the kitty is twitchy.
You said
You drinking your coffee again?
no, I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm drinking water. But
The avatar said absolutely not.
the avatar did say absolutely not. But you said you were keeping an eye on it, so I tried to.
A dehydrated queen.
I like that laugh.
She's making noises or something.
Yeah, I don't
So
start.
Kirsten,
Anyway,
Kirsten got it right.
Yeah, I like that laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what I heard. I don't know what I heard after that.
Crying. You heard me cry.
Oh, okay. Don't do that.
I'm guessing that people can read my hat today.
Yep, but I think that one will be easier to guess.
Okay, if you get it, Lincoln, you know, put it in the comments.
My guess is irritable bowel movements.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. All the hot girls have IBS.
Or as I always called it, itty bitty machines.
Itty bitty machetes.
Itty bitty machete.
All right. Well, we've just hit 40 minutes. So let's see if there's any last comments. Oh, there is. There is another Twitch emote from Porcupine Butler. Lol. Okay, let's try that one. Oh my gosh, I could do it. Very cool. Very cool. It's like a guy, and he's a guy laughing. He looks like the guy from Pawn Stars.
It's a guy. He's
I'm gonna have to like log into Twitch and take a look at some of these comments.
I'm gonna have to send you a screenshot or something, because this is gold.
Yeah.
This is very much entertaining, if anything, to me. But Porcupine Butler says stream over, sad face. Unfortunately so. But I am releasing one of our podcast episodes later tonight / tomorrow. So it'll be up. It'll be up for your viewing pleasure, and it is titled True, Useful, Kind, and it is about Bear's 3 pillars of life.
Well, 3 pillars of communication anyway. You know, I love that podcast, and it's we got a couple of podcasts coming up that are sort of spiritual in nature, and that's one of them. It's an old philosophy. I can't claim to have invented it. It's been around forever in many different spiritual disciplines, and it basically says, anything that you say or do, you want to test it against the 3 gates. I call them gates. Is it true? Is it useful? And is it kind? And if it can't pass 2 of those, then it's probably best not to do or say that thing. And, you know, I love this episode. We had a lot of fun with it. And I think it's all of them, true, useful, and kind. I want to share, I've been working on this, and I need to still do a few more adjustments to it. I've been drawing on Procreate on my iPad. I'm going to be doing a course. Oh, it's this one here. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a course on introduction to programming, and I want to do it differently. I want it to be I'm not sure exactly if my vision is animated, but at least it's illustrative and it has characters. And so this is the first character that I've drawn. And if you can't tell, that's me. And it still needs some work. There's a few tweaks I want to make to it still, but I wanted to share.
Bear, what programming language?
So I am doing a course on Python. I'm doing an introduction to Python course. And I'm not sure what language I'm going to use for this one. This one is just introduction. You have never done any programming before. You kind of know how to turn on your computer. It's a course.
That's me.
And hang on a second here. Where is this? Yeah. So it starts out with, what is computer programming? The simple answer is, programming is the act of creating programs that run on a computer. A program typically has 2 distinct parts: instructions and data. Instructions tell the computer what to do, and these instructions may follow a pattern called an algorithm. Data is information. Data may be used to inform the instructions, or it may be the result of the instructions, or it may be some of both. And there's an axiom in computer programming that algorithms plus data equals programs. And so that's where we're going to start. That's actually the first couple paragraphs of the script. And so I've written the script of their first movie. And what I want to do is I want to my plan, and we're going to see how it works out. I'm going to record the audio. I'm going to record the voice, and then I'm going to illustrate and animate to that. And we'll see how that goes. I want it to be incredibly accessible. I want it to be something that anybody with any level of computer experience can look and go through this course and end up writing a simple computer program. Yes, hand.
Okay, so back to also still Twitch chats. Here's what you missed on Twitch chat. You missed squids, you missed cats, but right now Skylord Sprinkles said, hold on a second, please. He did not say sneezing, but I'm sneezing. I got too excited. He said, he said, thank you, Porcupine Butler. He said, Python is an awesome skill to learn nowadays. It's becoming more prominent every day.
Yes.
And Porcupine Butler says, bless you, cat, and meow, and cat emotes. I figured out how to cat emote, and that is very exciting for me. That's the highlight of my life. I don't think I'll ever hit this kind of a peak again.
This is it.
I've peaked, yep.
All right. Well, Python is, I've done courses on Python before. And if you go on LinkedIn Learning, you can find some of my old Python courses. I wanted to update my Python course, to a new version. It was a few years old. And LinkedIn Learning decided that they don't like paying a contractor for this. They wanted to use an employee to create their courses. And, I hope that their courses are good. But that was one of the reasons that we branched out to putting my courses on YouTube. And it's a long story. We're trying to generate some inertia with our YouTube channel. And one of the ways that we're doing that is these live broadcasts to get people to the YouTube channel. Before we can actually monetize our videos on YouTube, we need to get a certain number of people over there viewing the videos. There has to be so many viewer hours before we're allowed to even find out how monetization works. It's all this.
And what's the course that is now up as of today, fully up on YouTube?
We have two courses up on our YouTube channel now. One is an introduction to C++, which is, if you were to ask me, the two most prominent languages in the world right now are C++ and Python. And if you want to get a job, the highest paying job in programming, you want to learn C++. If you want the broadest selection of jobs that are available, you learn Python. And then also we have an introduction to SQL, which, was also another one of my popular titles on. These titles were consistently in the top 10 on LinkedIn, and they just decided that they didn't want to pay contractors for this anymore. So I'm putting them on YouTube, and I want to get the viewership up so that we can monetize them and we can get back to earning a living and be able to continue to do all of this other fun stuff that we're now doing. In any event, that's what's on our YouTube now. The SQL course is already very popular. It's only been up for a couple of days. And I think we just finished uploading it today. Am I correct? She's drinking water. When the kitty is drinking water, that's what it looks like.
Yes, it is. That looked like the old, hey, put some salt on your tongue, put invisible salt,
It makes the avatar software doesn't know what to do with, having a bottle. I'm
gonna spit water on my computer.
So anyway, we would love it if you'd all go over to the YouTube channel and just, hit the play button and, go have dinner or something. Anyway, I think that's all we got today. Is that right, RiKitty, Kurstin?
Yep, that's it.
All right. We love you. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Bye.
Bye.